that it's still the old-time Democrat Party. I got into a tennis match with somebody in the editorial page with the Bristol Herald-Courier, and that mindset is that Rick Boucher does something for the 9th District because he brings home all this pork. And they don't see the big picture about how harmful that is. But they also don't see the fact that the Democrat Party has been totally taken over, usurped by the progressive movement. And I really think that it would be highly effective if you pointed that out. And I had that conversation with my delegate, Joe Johnson. We email occasionally. I like Joe. He's always good about getting back to me. He admits that the old-time conservative Democrats are few and far between. But I think that is the mindset of this region, and it doesn't exist anymore. The old-time Democrats aren't there. They've been taken over, and they need to be educated about that.
Well, we will do our, but the question was or a statement that you need to educate folks that the old-time Democrats are not the Democrats that they were, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And I would agree with that. Joe Johnson is a conservative Democrat. Would love to see him cross the aisle, votes with us on most philosophical issues. But I would say to you that you're right. I can talk to as many people as I can talk to. We're raising the funds to try to get the message out. But this is where it's important for each and every one of you to make sure you talk to 5 or 10 or 15 of your neighbors. Because if you talk to 5 and they talk to 10, the total, and each one of them just talks to 2, you've spread that word. And it cannot be done solely with money, because a lot of the folks aren't going to be watching TV or listening to the radio. It has to be done one-on-one. With over 700,000 people, not registered voters, but with over 700,000 people, there's no way that we're going to reach every one of them. But with your help, we can reach a lot more than have ever heard this before, and who need to understand that it doesn't do you any good to talk about card check if you don't have any jobs for anybody to organize it anyway. I mean, the problem is that if you pass cap and trade, or if we allow the EPA to do what they want to do to carbon, it's not just coal miner jobs. One of the problems that I'd like to deputize you to go out is everybody thinks, well, that's the coal fields, and boy, that's going to be a shame. It's every job that uses electricity to any great degree. Barack Obama himself said, your electric rates will skyrocket. To him, it's worth it. To me, it's not. To Boucher, it's worth it. To me, it's not. To Nancy Pelosi, it's worth it. To me, it's not.
It's not just businesses, it's going to be homes.
Oh, it's going to be homes too, no question about it. And then we can get into the whole thing about how they're going to make you be on the smart grid and tell you how high you can turn your temperature up or down. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Mary Leclerc from Chilhowie, and my question is, if you are elected and a bill comes before you that you have to vote on it, will you read the entire bill before you?
The question was, would I read the entire bill? I think most of you heard that. And the answer has to be a qualified answer. The answer is yes, but. And the but is, if the Democrats, or even if some of the Republicans want to play games, they may try to force a vote through fairly quickly. I will read the bill, but if I have not had an opportunity to read the bill, I will vote no. So I may have to vote without reading the whole bill, but if I don't have time to get through it, I will vote no. In my car, and we drove down in a different car, in my car I'm carrying around the first half of Cap and Trade. I'm reading through it. I understand the importance of having aides, and I'm not going to dismiss that. You have to have aides to try to help you. But there's no reason why, when you're a trained legislator, and Bill knows this, You can see me on the floor. I'm flipping through pages. You know, I'm going through stuff in committee. There's no reason why you can't get through a bill fairly quickly, because you learn to, you know, to pick out what's pretty much boilerplate and where the meat of the bill is. But it does take time. I mean, look, like I said, it's a cap and trade's about 1,500 pages. So.
He actually said they're too complicated to read, they can't understand them.
And that, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and my staff's always beating on me because I wax philosophical. Forget this. Let's talk history. Anytime a government starts having laws so complex and complicated that the people cannot understand the rules, the government will eventually collapse. We have the greatest and best form of government ever devised. We are in danger of losing it by making it too complex. If we make the bills smaller, so you're voting on, you know, it may be 30 pages. It might need to be 50 or 75 pages. But beyond that, unless it's a rewrite of a code section, sometimes we'll do that. We'll take the entire Title 18.2. Outside of a complete rewrite of a code section where you're just, most of it's the same bills, but you're reordering them to make more sense. Outside of that, when it gets so complex that even the lawyers can't figure out what's going on and the average citizen doesn't have a clue, you have problems.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. I want to make sure. I think I got to everybody I promised I would get to. 10 seconds.
I just want to stand and I haven't had a chance to do it personally, but I want to thank Bill for standing up for us on the power rate increases. I think you did a fabulous job.
Yes, sir.
The Castle Doctrine, the NRA sponsor, for or against?
Well, I'm for it, but we have to be careful. Now, I like the parts that deal with the liability. We have to be careful because most people don't know it. In Virginia, if somebody is threatening you, you do not have a duty to retreat now under common law in your house or in the curtilage, which is the area immediately around your house, which you would be. The old rule was pretty much if you kept it mowed and trimmed and had it planted, that was the curtilage. You don't have a duty to retreat now. I don't want to create something by statute that takes away that. I have voted for the Castle Doctrine, but that's the one concern that I have. I don't want to take any common law rights away from folks defending their home. I like the civil liability side of it because that gives you more protection. So,
Any chance of it passing?
well, it's passed the House. I think it gets into trouble in the Senate where they bottle it up in a committee. Yeah, Will carried it this year, didn't it? We've had several versions of it, and like I say, I like that liability section. You know, I would want to make sure that we, you know, tried to make sure that it said, and if it got to the governor's desk, I'd tell him put a line in there that says the first paragraph doesn't change the Virginia common law, because that is one of the strongest common law statements about your ability to defend yourself in the country. Thank you very much for being here.
We have enough jobs to fill, legals didn't have them all.
Everybody get a chance to sign in.
I know, put it on YouTube. Yeah. Because I see a lot of people every day about that business, and I tell them, Google it, YouTube it, report everything you know about this business. So, I thought you might anyway, but I'm just curious.
You have